That was nice. We had some Drew singing in there. That was jolly enjoyable. That he was happy.
Well, it's autumn. What's there not to be happy about?
It is autumn. It was, as we were saying before the show, I've been doing some cat sitting for the last couple of days for my friend Faye, and she lives out on the levels down at Claverham. Oh, it's glorious out there, Drew. You'd love it at the moment.
For the first time since May, I haven't got the fan on in here. So it's cool.
It is. It's lovely. Chris, how are things over at your side of the pond?
Well, in the Bay Area, it doesn't start getting hot really until September and October and November. So it's kind of the exact opposite for you guys. But yeah, it's going great. It's going well here at the house. Last night was exciting because there was a thing called the Petrol Music Festival over in San Francisco on Pier 80, and through a quirk of geography, the sound from this electronic music festival carries across the bay to Alameda perfectly. So you hear this thump, 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 thump all night long. It's like somebody's playing EDM in their pumped up pickup truck down the street, and all you can hear is the bass. So that's always fun. Thanks, San Francisco. We love you.
Whenever you say Alameda, you know where I'm going with this.
Nuclear Wessels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. Sorry.
So if that Star Trek movie had been set at a certain time of the year and a certain weekend of the year, they would have this horrible EDM soundtrack behind it. So.
Even in the year of blah 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 whatever.
Well, maybe back, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I do love that. I do love that film. In fact, I do seem to remember, Drew, didn't we? No, it was 2001: A Space Odyssey that we sat through, and your conclusion was there was something about the sum.
The operative word.
Yeah, the sum doesn't make up the whole, or something.
Yeah, it is less than the sum of its parts.
That was it. But having said that, I think if you're coming up this Christmas, I think we will slog our way through Star Trek: The Motion Picture again, because I love that film. I just absolutely adore that film now, especially its special edition version. Anyway, we've got a little bit off piste here. So
in record time.
In record time, absolutely.
That's right. It's my fault.
Right,
I'll take them this time.
Yeah, I am just trying to call up Chris's images here because, Chris, start talking about what you've been working on with this truck whilst I try and queue up the photographs.
The photographs. So it's a Chevrolet of Canada CMP pattern C60L 3-ton truck. It's a conversion. The whole back of the thing is scratch built. And it's just about ready for me to put some stuff on the stays there. I got the rear right stay is a little bit off. The trick right now is those things each one keeps kind of breaking off under any pressure whatsoever. So putting them back in place is a pain in the backside. But I've got the cargo in there, which you can't really put in after you've put the canvas cover on, can you? And that was just a collection of odds and ends from different things. The Italeri PSP bass they sell handily comes with 8 drums, and I had a couple more in my stash and some boxes and stuff, and it also has like 24 jerry cans, which is just crazy. Really kind of handy if you're building 72nd scale stuff to get one of those sets and steal the doodads out of it.
You just answered my question there. What scale is it? Yeah, 72nd.
72nd scale. It's not 48th. It's 72nd. So so yeah, the last couple of weeks I put hello there. It's all gonna fall out now. I put the rear window of the cab, which you can't see, I worked really hard on, which is hilarious. The windshield I masked and sprayed, so you've got the marks where the wipers would be.
Yeah.
And then I put the windshields in. So it's getting close. The last things are going to be putting that canvas top on with tissue paper and white glue, and then things like the rearview mirrors and the position markers, and there's also some little fender additions to the backs of the fenders. There's little mud flap type things that have to be added here and there, but it's getting close to being done. It's in the final throes here, and so I spent undue amount of time weathering the barrels, which is stupid. It's like you pick the 3 or 4 you want to have visible, and then just
because
together.
The 4 at the back there are the only 4 that are going to be visible, and then only the torch.
Yeah, so this is it. Enjoy this while you can see it, because it'll be gone pretty soon. It'll be in pitch darkness. But no, it's a fun model, and I love telling the story about the Canadians putting on their stars crooked. That's such a great story to discern themselves from the Americans.
I was just going to say, looking at the one on the back there, yes, I know the picture's up the wrong way around, but
yeah, it's a little cockeyed, and they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. They didn't want to put They didn't want to put the American markings on there because they didn't want to look like the Americans. So they just took the stencil and moved it and sprayed it, and there you go.
Do you mean to say that the Canadians were trolling the Americans?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little. Even back then.
Even
good
back
for them.
Then, good Lord. Yep, that looks absolutely. Yes. What color is that? Is that an olive drab or a variation of?
Yeah, it's a variation of olive drab. It's Model Master, and then good old fashioned Model Master olive drab, the kind intended for armor, but then lightened a little bit, and with various shades of faded olive and some oil brusher weathering, and on and on and on. So it's like heavily weathered olive drab.
Are you still spraying enamels, Chris?
I am still. I'm a dinosaur that way. I keep spraying enamel.
You're probably most Americans of our vintage have probably still got massive stashes of Model Master, haven't they? So.
Yes, and weirdly enough, if you can't find it, there's a store in Sacramento that still has a paint rack, which is insane, but full of Model Master paints. And at our club not too long ago, somebody had passed away, a modeler we didn't know, and a friend of his brought in all this stuff. He said, "Yeah, can I bring some of my friend's stuff? I don't know what to do with. You guys can have it." And sure. We come in and there's like 6 or 7 8-foot long tables full of stuff, including boxes and boxes and boxes of enamels, not just Model Masters, but Flow Quill, which is really treasured stuff. Yeah. So
the late great Jim Wood used to swear blind by his Flow Quill because he was the guy behind Esoteric Models. And yeah, he absolutely would not budge from using Flow Quill. And yeah, I can see why, because
it's lovely.
I can remember in the early 90s hunting for a supplier for Flow Quill in the UK, and it was just completely unavailable. I tried London. I tried phoning London art shops and all sorts of stuff because people said it might be in there, and no, it was never available.
Do you remember DBI paint, Drew? It came in those glass. They were like glass bottles.
Yeah, well, DBI was what CompuColor 2 became, wasn't it? It was all CompuColor 2, then DBI, and they were all. All I remember of DBI is they were thick and gloopy compared to, the CompuColor was in the little tall pots, the Gloy type or Airfix type pots, and then CompuColor 2 was in some kind of a jar. I don't quite remember. And then sort of Extra Color really took over the enamel scene completely.
CompuColor 2, if I remember rightly, came in like a plastic, almost like a pill bottle type thing, and it was and the problem with that is that once you opened it, the paint spoiled very, very quickly if it hadn't already spoiled anyway. So
because along 1986-87 is when Extra Color first appeared, and that was in little plastic bottles as well. And it was lovely to paint, but it never cured, so you couldn't brush over it because you'd lift it instantly. And it was another couple of years after that before we started getting Extra Color in in the tins.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I had hundreds of extra colours here up until probably 10 years ago, and I just, once I started using Mysticolor, I just never touched extra colour again, effectively. And so about 10 years ago, it all went up the tip. It's just, you're never going to use it, so you know, it was just taking up space that could have been used for other paint. So you know, we're almost entirely a lacquer or acrylic hobby now, aren't we? So
yep. Now I have a bunch of MRP paints, some that are waiting their turn. Sort of when I get to the point where I run out of dark earth or dark green or something like that, it'll be lacquer time. But you know, until then, I can keep struggling along the way I've been struggling. So the same materials I'm used to fist fighting, and get there.
But the interesting thing is, back when I used sort of enamels, the thing that I loved most about acrylics and lacquers was how quickly you could swap between paints. You know, you know, by the time you swap paints, the previous coat is dry. And now my modelling is so slow that it wouldn't make any difference if I did use enamels.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I remember from when I was dabbling with when I first started dabbling with Tamiya acrylics, and it was putting down, say, like a dark earth, and then being able to get a bottle of dark green enamel paint and paint over the top of it. Good Lord, what is going on here? We have an interloper.
We've been
Hello. Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
That was that.
Break for it.
That was nice and brief.
Spencer showed up. He assessed the situation and he just decided to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either that or
it's a bit like those ducks you see in that thing running out into the snow and then turning around and running straight back in. Have you seen that little bit of video? Yeah, I think that was Spencer. He kind of went, "Yeah, no."
I was either that or I was thinking of, who was that character from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy whose major intestine reached up and throttled his brain, and perhaps this cable on his computer decided to unplug itself. Anyway, look, he's back again.
Hello.
Evening.
Evening.
All right.
What can we do for you, Mr. Pollard?
Well, I just thought I'd come and you know, rain all over your Sunday night parade.
Who lost?
There's no rain here. It's autumn. We're happy.
Yeah. Oh,
now Chris is gone.
Yeah. Good Lord.
What happened? Did I just replace him? Is that what this was all about?
I think they call that replacement theory.
Chris is back again. This is like the worst. This is like the worst introduction to the Brady Bunch ever. This is like
one of those sliding puzzles.
Yeah,
back. They're in a different place.
See,
thanks a lot, StreamYard. Appreciate the irony of being punched out as we're joking about Spencer being
someone
punched
else's fault.
Yeah, absolutely right. Shall we crack on with the news? He said, trying to get the show under control.
Hang on. Can I just point something out? This is twice on the trot. We've said we'll deal with projects. We talked about Chris, and then you've gone, shall we crack on with the news then?
Go on, Andrew.
What? This is the second time you've done that.
Well, usually you do it at the end of the show. Go on then. Look, you've got the stage.
I've got no problem, so
go on. Go on.
I was just offended at the lack of consideration for other people's potential products.
Come on, man. There we go.
That's better.
That's the spirit.
Hey. Did that.
Yes.
It's tiny, isn't it?
That's pretty.
I'm not one to judge, but
wow.
So what kit was that, Drew?
Little Academy B2.
That's
I've just recently finished it this week actually. It's great. It was trying to make Gunship Grey interesting is a challenge, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is a challenge.
It's a challenge, but that was a couple of weeks' work. That is literally straight from the box. There's nothing added or taken away from that. Everything there, including the decals, is just canopy masks are in the box.
At the risk of sounding dense, what could you add to something at that scale?
I mean, I guess you could get stores and stuff, I suppose, but I mean, it's such a whilst it's not a simple airframe in technical terms. It's a fairly simple, it's basically two flat surfaces meeting along a common plane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to build one in 72nd scale, but it would just be it'd be 4 times the size of this, wouldn't it? So twice the size in every direction, which would make a gigantic model. But yeah, I mean, these Academy 144 scale kits are beautiful little things.
Mm-hmm.
And the decals, while they're printed in Korea, performed and feel exactly like Cartograph.
Mm-hmm.
They performed exactly the same way. The main thing, I mean, it was a week or so. It was not even a week. It was a few days to build, and then you're just continually trying to refine the paintwork to make it look interesting, because these aircraft are they do get very, very beaten.
Now, you did do quite a bit of marbling on that, didn't you?
Yeah, as ever, I like to start with a basically an opaque coat of the base color, and then I sort of intermediate shade. There was a lot of white and black marbling and stuff going on, and picking out different panels with lighter and darker grays, and then blending it all back so it so it kind of fades back in, but then using like wet Trizact to polish certain areas to reveal some of the lighter undercover as well, which you can see on the things like the outer wing panels and over the engines and stuff.
There we go.
Yeah. But the important thing with that is to sort of thoroughly make sure you blend it all back, because
I was just going to say, for quite a few modelers out there, Drew, that would be the finished model, wouldn't it? It would be, look at me, look at my weathering, and it's like very good, but a bit too much aftershave.
Yeah,
that's the point at which I start panicking right there. Start trying to figure out how to fix what I just did.
Yeah, that, and you can see there. I mean, it's got browns and tans in it as well, which is actually quite noticeable on the B2. And then there you go. That's
the blend coat.
That's the blend coat to take it all back, and then when you varnish it, it actually blends it back a little bit more. I would have liked it to have remained a bit more like that than what I've got here, which is blended back possibly a little bit more by the varnishes.
Quick question, Drew. Was that an opaque coat of the grey, or did you spray it on kind of really thinly?
What, the blend coat?
The blend coat, yeah.
Yeah, it was probably thinned about 90% with Mr. Color Thinner.
Right.
But then it's just you just keep working it over and over and over until you get the finish, until you get it blended back. It's always better to go very light, and you can always add another little bit,
exactly,
rather than trying to rather than going too far and then having to try and recover it and dial it back the other way, if you like. So that looked about right to me, so I stopped there. But I could have probably stopped a little bit earlier, and it would have looked more like that after the varnishing coats. Because as you can see in this, with the varnish coats on it, it's still very much there, the shading, but it has kind of faded back a little bit more than perhaps I would have liked. But once you catch it in the light, you can certainly see it.
What was your varnish coat? Was it goodness me, I've forgotten the name of the brand. There we go, VMS.
Yeah. VMS, yeah. The gloss coat
or satin?
Satin.
Right.
But you can see it's basically it's all but matte, but it just has that very slight catching light quality.
Yep.
To keep it.
I was just going to say, and I think with something of that small scale, anything completely dead flat, the model just looks too flat, doesn't it?
I almost think in any sort of scale, if it's too flat, you kind of lose it. It's the same, it's the same with the Spitfire there. If that is essentially matte, but it just catches the light a little bit, doesn't it? Which makes it, which gives it life.
Got some comments on your B2, Jack. Jack Daniels is good. JC says might have to get one of those B2s. Looks pretty good. Richard WL says looks good, Drew. Some bloke called Royce Sutherland, never heard of him. He says looks great, Drew. Nice balance between underpainting and solid colour. I absolutely agree with you there, Roy. And David Mummery says, well, I think it looks absolutely marvellous, Drew.
See what he did there?
Yes, yeah. And what
So,
was that Mr. Colour you used for the Gunship Grey?
No, actually, it was AK Real Colour.
Ah.
Because I've got a big drawer full of them as well, and it was there, so I used it, and yeah, I'm really very happy with it. I must, I've got the P8 as well, Poseidon, that they've released, so I must build with that very shortly. But I'm kind of committed now in the run up to Telford.
Yeah.
Because I'm sort of trying to bring this thing home.
Oh gosh, yeah. I've got incidentally, the decals have been mailed to you.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, I ordered some masks for the canopy earlier this week and they haven't turned up yet, so I got impatient today. So I just started.
Don't you love the rear-facing machine guns? They're just so conveniently placed for modelers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the idea is these have actually been super glued in place, and the idea is that if they snap off, the inside's going to remain fine. I can just glue it back on at the end.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
No problem. So, but yeah, this is the ICM kit, which is sort of from an intermediate period of ICM's development. So it's not as good as the modern kits, but is okay.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is it takes a lot of work. It needed a lot of work around the engine, nacelles and stuff, because there's engines in there. So doing it all buttoned up is actually quite a chore, which required quite a lot of filling and sanding and kind of restoring.
Is it me, or does a 48 scale Junkers 88 actually look quite small? No,
yeah, it's not an enormous aircraft by any means. No. But yeah, so I'm trying to bring that home, and I've got another project that I have to do for Telford that I'm not allowed to discuss. But that's how it goes sometimes, doesn't it? So,
that's great.
Brilliant. Yes, Telford. Good Lord, I was writing about that today for Brett's op-ed and saying that it's gone from being months away, and now suddenly it's weeks away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this time, 2 weeks' time, I'll be at the IPMS Ireland Nationals. So
I look forward to a debrief when you get back. Then,
well, the debrief will be there was Guinness, and
that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I can't remember anything I saw, and I came back with a bag of things I bought in the vendor area that I can't explain.
Yeah.
Spence, what are you working on?
Wouldn't be the first time, Chris. Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, Spence, what are you working on at the moment?
Nothing.
Oh, right, excellent. Right, well, that's that. Right, let's go on with. You've been on your hollybobs, haven't you?
Yes, I've been on holiday for a week or so, and house sitting and all of that kind of nonsense. I can't remember what I last did. Oh, the M36 Jackson was the last thing I built. And my upcoming project is going to be the ICM Marauder B26B.
Ooh.
And just to make life interesting for myself, that's also got to be finished for the Nationals as well, because I had while I was away in Bath or Bath, depending on
Bath, yes.
No, it's Bath. In the same way, it's path and grass. We're not having any of that nonsense southern stuff. You're from Birmingham. You should be saying Bath like everybody else.
I say Bath.
So anyway, although I did get a lot of trouble for that, and probably would be kicked out of Bath if I didn't say it was Bath. So met up with Andy, and he was talking about ICM, then wanting to put a little, display of ICM kits on. And I believe that you two are both working on ICM kits. So so that's going to be good. Don't you think life has gone very fast this year? It's just kind of like flown by.
It's only March.
Yeah, is it though? Is it only the beginning of April? Is that where we are?
I hope so. It's my birthday again.
I'm a bit like John. I had all sorts of plans in mind for things that I started in April. And now all of a sudden I've got to get them finished within the next couple of weeks. And then we're running into the national championships in about 4 minutes, isn't it? It's about
that. I mean, I've got to finish this JU88 and then get straight on to another project that I've agreed to do, and that's going to be quite some time compression.
It's just that's absolutely insane. I just, before I came on this and had my tea, I was watching the Arsenal Manchester City game in my local, and I just walked home. It's freezing outside, properly cold. When did that happen? It was like 2 seconds ago we had like 35 degrees and none of us could sleep, and now all of a sudden it's just freezing. I hate it.
Here we go. See, Steve Moores, he says, I'm with JM, but Dad came from Box just outside Bath.
That doesn't say Bath, that says Bath. If it was Bath, it would have an R in it.
It's spelled Bath, but it's pronounced Bath.
There we go. Anne-Marie Royal Gould says, is Bath when you're sat in the stands at the Rec? And I have sat in the stands at the
Solidarity, mate. Solidarity.
Yeah.
Come on, Bath. Come on. Although they had a bad game yesterday and got beat by Exeter Chiefs, which wasn't that great. And I'm not entirely sure that Andy was particularly happy about that. Although the full team did play Worcester on Friday night and won. So you see, this is the problem that we have when I've got friends from your neck of the woods. All of a sudden I've become a Bath fan because of Farmer. What is going on, kind of thing. Anyway, getting back to your comment. So yeah, B26Bs. That's going to be. I've had this kit for a while actually. Sat in the studio, and I dug it out the other day and had a bit of a look at it.
It's very frustrating because I've got that kit as well, and I love the Marauder, and it's one of those ones that I bought with great intentions, and then it ended up getting sidelined. It just never got to it, and so it kind of sits like there now.
You and the three of us, we spoke at Avon, didn't we? We were talking about future projects and all of that kind of nonsense, and we were talking about Lysanders, and I got sent a Lysander. And then I bought a Lysander, and I haven't started either of them. I was only reminded of the fact that I need to build the Lysander when Drew sent me a few 3D printed parts, including a gun, and then put a note on it saying, "I thought you might like this for your Lysander," which seemed a bit like a reminder that I didn't need. So
the thing is, I got the Lysander. I bought the Lysander as well, and I got the CMK Lysander Mark II conversion the other week, and I've got the Quinter interior bits and all this kind of stuff. And my, great plans because I want to do an Irish Air Corps Lysander Mark II. And then you just agree to do stuff for other things and other people, and it just gets pushed to the side again. And you're thinking that was going to be my next build after the B2. My next build after the B2 was going to be a Lysander. And now it's getting this JU88 to through home, and then starting this other project. And it's you almost feel bad complaining because it's a very, very privileged position to be in, isn't it?
It probably didn't help either that I had conversations with you two idiots who can't, who really should know me well enough not to make suggestions for future projects. And when I said that I wanted to do another Jaguar, you should have said, if you were mates, you should have said, you've already built one, move on to something new. But no, you didn't do that, did you? What you said was, that sounds like a really good idea. what are you going to do next? And so what did I do at Avon? I bought another Jaguar. So I've got that as well. So it just becomes...
We had to buy something after I beat you to the A10.
you did, actually. Which actually didn't annoy me on the day, but since I've been reading through that Woodbridge and Bentwater's book, has annoyed me more and more since I got back. So I've actually never seen anybody crawl over another human being quite as quickly as you did on that day to get to that.
Well, it was getting on for half retail.
I know, it was quite an extraordinary piece of... I was like, oh, look, there's an A10 over there. Next thing I see is this 6'4" gorilla go over the top of me and go, I think I'm going to have... And I'm like, I've barely spoken about it. And you sort of wandered off cackling like an old witch. It was extraordinary piece of real sleight of hand. It was I lost a bit of respect for you, I have to say, on that day. There was no... I
wouldn't say shilling, but it's kind of like it's on the same kind of it's on the same kind of spectrum, really. A bit like what we refer to as shill foo. I think Drew was just acquisition foo. He had to get in there, and it was just elbows everywhere.
It wasn't it. I have to say though, in your defense, and this is probably the only time I'm ever going to defend you. I'm thinking over anything was that it was a very good deal, and you would have been a mug not to have gone to it. See, I was in slightly two minds about it, whereas you were very much, I'm having that.
So because I think Jen was looking at it as well and kind of and ahhing, and I was like, there was no and ah from me. It was, I'm having it.
Yes, indeed.
So it was kind of like, you may have lost a bit of respect for me, but snooze, you lose. So
there is that expression, isn't there, which is do your business or vacate the lavatory, which is the cleaned up version of it.
It very much felt like that, actually. It was, get off the pot, I think, is the end of that particular that particular description. But sort of seeing it did look, I need to get one of those.
Here we go. News, and the incredibly nice Mr. Luke Slaney Hewitt, if he's watching tonight, at Revell, has been sharing images of their 32nd scale Hunter T7/T7A. Good Lord, Drew and Spence, when did this Revell Hunter come out? Was it 1998? I think it was, wasn't it?
It was 1997, 98, wasn't it? It was, this has been the best part of 30 years in the and I think is entirely down to, again, Luke's influence at Revell.
It's still a very nice kit as well, isn't it? Despite
absolutely, it was a beautiful model when it was released, and it was over the years I've seen many beautifully made examples of it, but this, this appeals to me even more than the single seater. So
it does me as well.
There's a million color schemes for this thing, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Exactly what I was just going to say. There are so many color schemes you can throw at this, and it looks like they're doing a really thorough job on it as well. So, I
love the part. I love the fact the part that they can update, or the needs of the updates to become the trainer version, are the places that showed the most finesse on the Meteor. Right, the rest of the airframe is pretty good, right? You don't need to mess with that. The stuff you need to mess with, you can really go crazy and make it really up to date, and have a next generation kit with a previous generation airframe, essentially.
I like what Luke's bringing to Revell, because it's almost entirely positive, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, not almost. It is entirely positive.
It is entirely positive.
That cockpit looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I suspect from the box that is going to build into a great looking cockpit. That probably won't need. I'm sure there'll be plenty of aftermarket for it, but I think even building it straight from the box, it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, we've lost everybody. Let me just add everybody back in. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. The screen's gone a bit. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Yes,
yeah, it's going to be difficult with that kit. I mean, I don't know what color schemes they're choosing to put in that kit, but just thinking about potential color schemes, everything from wraparound, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? Drew and I particularly like wraparound color schemes on those jets. But I mean, looking at some of the earlier sprayed aluminium ones with yellow on or day glow or whatever, that would be.
I've always been very, very partial to the Dutch ones, the Dutch silver ones. They've always looked really, really nice. But yeah, I mean, it's so many. Thing was, originally as new builds, there were. I mean, I'm not saying there was a small production, but so the vast majority of kind of foreign hunters were rebuilds.
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those aircraft that really took off as kind of refurbs and foreign sales. At sort of the end of its RAF life almost.
that was a lot.
And a lot of the twin seaters were converted from sort of single seat Mark 5s and 4s and 5s, weren't they? Taken back and converted into twin seaters.
I always like there are a couple examples that the Royal Navy used. In the Buccaneer program. I always like those. That scheme looks great on every airplane.
Yeah. Well, talking of aircraft with a myriad of color schemes, Fine Molds have announced they're doing a 72nd scale F104J. Now, I think we can safely predict, knowing how Fine Molds go about their business, and certainly from looking at this this runner breakdown, yeah, they're gonna milk this, aren't they?
Well, they quite frankly, they'd be foolish not to. It's I mean, you can see there you've got the separate tail section, which looks like it's going to be one of those clever slide molding parts. But that then gives you the option for an F104A/C tail as well. The main fuselage is on an entirely separate sprue, main fuselage and bathtub there, so that clearly will give options for a twin seater. Let's have a look. The air intakes are up there, so you might have to have extra air intakes for an F104S, but that'd be easy enough to add on to a little extra sprue. This is my kind of game with these kits. I just instantly start breaking down what the potential is. So, you know, there's potential for twin seaters, there's a potential for an S, there's a potential for an A/C. And it's Fine Molds. So, you know,
I'll tell you what, chaps, if that's all the runners, all the sprues that you get in the kit, that is beautifully efficient, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's not
overcomplicated. This is one of the things I know, Drew, that you didn't like about their F4s was that they were a little bit over egged. This, on the other hand, doesn't look like that. It just looks like it's, there we go, bang, get on with it.
I'm going to get frustrated. I mean, the F4s frustrate me because they've done so many things on the F4 that Hasegawa did better 35 years ago. It's a nice kit. It's a great kit, and it can be built very, very nicely. Spence, you built one, haven't you?
Yes, well, yeah, I have. Yeah,
Fine Mold F4.
I enjoyed it to a point, but I agree with you. We talked about it quite a lot at the time, didn't we?
It's fussy, isn't it?
It is fussy, yeah. But once it's finished, if you sort of pay attention to it, once it's finished, it does look great when it's done. But there are sort of issues with Fine Molds kits that I've sort of struggled to get past a little bit. One of them is that I think that they're slightly heavy-handed in their approach to detail. In terms of surface detail, that's one of the things I noticed on the F4. The panel lines were sort of over accentuated for a model of that scale, and it sort of put me off. I was looking at doing one of the F-15Js when they came out, and it kind of put me off the F-15J as well, because I looked at photographs of the completed model and kept on looking at it thinking, that looks like it's a bit overblown, a little bit kind of overdone. But there's no getting away from the fact that that as kits, they are, you know, they are nice. They are, I wouldn't say they're very nice. They're not Tamiya quality. They're nice kits.
But it's like Rob Monfils there says that the fin on the Phantom was a bit of an issue. Funnily enough, they completely retooled the vertical fin on the short nose Phantoms. The fin is a completely new tooling, one piece unit. It's lovely. The fin on the long nose Phantoms is an issue.
Yeah, there's an inset, isn't there, in that?
Yeah, and it's not a terribly well executed inset either.
No,
Didn't you, Drew, also have issues with the fact that they did that panel along the top of the spine as a separate piece?
This separate spine panel on Phantoms has become a thing. And it is incredibly frustrating because it doesn't, you know, all they're doing is that they're accounting for the fact that the US Air Force variants have a receptacle there. That's the major difference. You know, it was like Airfix with the F4K stroke M had a separate spine insert, and I'm just, to this day, I still cannot work out what the point of that was, other than the designer looked at all the other Phantoms on the market and went, oh, I better do a separate spine insert. And there's absolutely no reason for it. And it just, you know, and if it doesn't fit like Tamiya,
yes,
it's an issue. You've immediately created an issue where there needn't be an issue.
We've got
and it's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, we've got the schemes here, the decal schemes for the F-104J. So it looks to be 2 silver and 2 grey aircraft as depicted. Whoops, Daisy, as depicted on the box art, which I think is a grey one. No, it's a silver one. But they also, Fine Molds also do accessory sets. So, you know, this is a bit like the Hasegawa weapon sets, but this is entirely for Japanese air self-defense. And they also do some other accessories, a turn metal pitot there, and I can't tell, I think they're they are injection molded mirrors
and seat
Good
belts.
Lord. And seat
belts.
Yeah, they do it in a kind of flexible plastic material that can be glued. They're very nice, but they are eye-wateringly expensive for what you get. But it's I kind of like Fine Molds, and they frustrate me at the same time. And I think Spencer's agree.
I feel the same way. Same way. Those Phantoms were, you know, I had 2 of the F4 EJs or whatever they're called, and although I enjoyed them and I like the models in my display case, I like it and I like looking at it, I thought that it was kind of 85% where it needed to be, rather than, you know, being, and there was an awful lot of kind of conversation about it, saying how great they were, and they were, you know, they were the next best thing. And I thought, yeah, that's probably doing a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to these kits.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just keep on thinking of little things that Hasegawa did better in 1990 with theirs. It's like the lower forward fuselage insert on the Hasegawa, on the Fine Molds kit, actually splits the sparrow bays in half.
Yes.
Whereas in the Hasegawa kit, that insert is one piece that goes back into the main wing, and keeps the sparrow bays in one piece. It's a little detail, but that just drops in perfectly on the Hasegawa kit and is better. The rear between the engines on the Hasegawa kit is actually molded as a part of the lower wing, and just drops into place between the engines. On the Fine Molds kit, you've got a flat rear surface to that wing, and a horrendous join, like between the fuselage halves, to have to deal with.
Which is not so bad when you're building something in 48th, if you're having to deal with those kind of things. But when you're dealing with something in 72nd, which is much smaller, and you've got much smaller areas to try and clean up and get them to look good, it becomes a bit of a snag then.
And Hasegawa did separate intake ramps as well 35 years ago, which is just, great. This is the future. Separate intake ramps on a Phantom mean it makes it much easier to paint that area of a Phantom.
Yeah.
And then nobody else has done it since, and it's kind of, Hasegawa handed you this design sort of ethos on a plate, and everybody else has ignored it.
Yes, yeah, that is probably true. Yeah,
the first thing I do when I build a Phantom now is I sit down and I saw the intake ramps away from the main intake parts.
Yeah. So
it's true. I can paint them and paint them and paint the forward fuselage separately on its own.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have to do what I do and paint around them and then glue it together. Oh, it's just
it's adding. I call it embuggerance.
Right. Well, this looks like this could be interesting. This is Trumpeter have released photographs of their apparently 48th scale Buccaneer. Now they did about a decade ago. They did tease that they were going to do one in 32nd scale.
It was about a decade and a half ago, actually. It was like 2008, 2009.
Yeah. But these are copyright credit whoever took these photographs at a trade show. Trumpeter 48 scale Buccaneer. Rob Monfils makes a nice interesting point. Is this because Airfix is difficult to get hold of in China?
It's exactly that. I mean, this is going to be like Matchbox in the 70s in China, isn't it? It's just going to be. Yeah, it's going to be in every shop and store, and I have no idea what those missiles are.
No, I'm just having a look at them. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, no idea.
They're not C.
No,
they're not. No. Interestingly, you can see the main parts breakdown there. The nose is separate. Looks like they might be.
That's not a Martel, Rob. That may be many things, but that's not a Martel.
No, it's not a Martel. The nose is separate. They've also broken the forward fuselage at the intakes as well. So, are Trumpeter going to bite the bullet and start doing things like S1s and?
I mean, if it's not essentially for this market, if they're not doing an S1, it's a busted flush, really, isn't it? I mean, Airfix have nailed the Mark II. So if there's if they're not going to do a Mark I, it's just. I mean, it's great. I mean, it'll, like I say, it'll sell great into the Chinese market. They all do. But for us.
Steve Moore's saying, is it an AS?
I mean, I was thinking AS30 to start with, because I know the South African ones carried the AS30. It's not an AS30. I think somebody there said they
look like Russian missiles.
Yeah, somebody there said it might be something to do with the J36 that they're releasing, so it might not actually be connected to the Buccaneer at all. It's just it's just an unfortunate photograph.
Yeah, it's not very well posed. Just a very quick one before we leave this. I'm trying to work out what that color scheme's supposed to be. I know that there were some of the early S2 schemes were extra dark sea grey and white. That appears to be dark sea grey and sky. I don't know. It's
There was a couple of test ones with kind of squirrel grey undersides and stuff, wasn't there as well?
There were, yes.
I don't know. I mean, it's all bets are off where Trumpeter and British subjects are concerned. It's like, well, you're probably better off just going, look, all the schemes are going to be hosed. Just start from there.
Regrettably, Trumpeter have only ever done. I'm going to sound horrible here, but they've ever done two reasonably decent post-war British aircraft. Drew, you know what one of them is, and you know why it's a very good kit.
Well, the Wyvern.
The Wyvern.
Because it's not Trumpeter.
Yeah, it's not designed by Trumpeter, that's why.
And also their 48 scale Seahawk isn't
yeah,
terrible.
and the Hobby Boss 72nd Seahawk is a beautiful little model.
Yeah.
So you know, but yeah, I mean, certainly the Wyvern was done with outside money and research. So you know, like we say, Trumpeter can tool a great model. They just don't do very good replicas a lot of the time.
The weird thing about Trumpeter is that their armor kits are often really well done and really nice. And yet,
and like I say, a lot of their aircraft these days are really well done. You know, but so often, and I think it's down to the market they're selling into. You know, literally, it doesn't matter that much to that market.
Yeah. Although we had a very interesting going back to Avon, because it was last time we got together, and we had quite an interesting conversation about Greg Woodbridge's F-106B, didn't we?
Yeah.
That he got on display, and we'd spoken about this kit and said how awful that it was all balked from one end to the other. But once it was built and he'd got it on display and we had a look at it, the three of us went, well, actually, that's really nice. And we were.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can still see the noses. The nose to me is still the nose cone, specifically in front of the canopy, is still, you know, definitely off for a Delta Dart. But the whole thing actually hangs together pretty.
It does,
well.
yeah. It's really weird. Nice. Yeah, to the point where I thought, actually, I quite fancy building one of those, and frankly, it's got to be a lot easier to put together than the monogram one. But then, pretty much everything is, which is, So
next news item, and one for Chris. This 72nd scale Armour Hobby. They are doing a P51D Mustang. We have featured this on the show before, but they've just released. They released some photographs. Marcin Siepieski says has just built the pre-production sprues of our 172nd scale P51D Mustang. Assembly went smoothly, parts fit perfectly, cockpit finished in one evening, full model ready soon after, painted with Gunsy super metallic to duralumin. Duralumin, there we go, geraniums. On the wings, you can clearly see the panel lines, and the ones that were putted on the rear aircraft are very delicately represented. That's a unique feature of our Mustang. In the coming days, the kit goes into production, and we plan to start shipping orders later this month. Order your Mustang now at the Armour Hobby web store, also available with 3D accessories. So yeah, you can. They are. I'll put the link up there for you. But yes, this does look a bit tasty, doesn't it?
Yummy. I like it. The wing thing is, like I've said before, I spent a lot of time on previous P51s putting all the panels, and for them to do it for me is a big step up. So I love it.
Yeah, well, it's they've added a P51D to their stable as a stable of ponies.
Very good.
It's an obvious, it's if you're getting into this game, it's a no-brainer.
I love that jig though. That is ingenious, and I wonder how many more kit companies are going to start riffing on that idea, because I think that is absolutely brilliant. And we've all built the B, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful kit.
I love that jig, and the fact that it puts the wheels in these little shoulders, so your alignment's going to be right on the nose.
Yep.
That is genius.
Oh, there are so many Mustangs I want to do, mostly Australian ones actually, but and then we've got the instrument panel, which is perfect because that's what you want, flat bezel so that you can lay the decal over the top of them. And there we are again, drop flaps, always a plus point.
That light oil canning on the flaps, very nice.
Yep. And
it does look nice, doesn't it? It does look tidy. For me, it'd be interesting to see how this thing compares to Edward's kit. That's really the kind of the level that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is the Edward kit is the gold standard currently, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and it's, I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous, and when you build it and put it together, it just looks incredible. This one looks like it's kind of more simplified in terms of surface detail and sort of general approach to the Edward kit, but it still looks very nice. I like the detail on the rudder pedals. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
you'll never see it, but it's nice to have it.
Exactly. You won't see any of that, will you?
that was on the B too. The North American logos on the pedals, just like that's totally gilding the lily. You can't possibly see those things when they're installed.
Yeah,
but you know it's there. So
what it says to me is that Armour were paying attention. So but yeah, this, I know people will be rolling their eyes and going, not another Mustang, but do you know what? They make money. This is where kit companies get to, they get to do stuff like this, so that then they can
sell. They'll just sell. Simple as that.
I have 49 decal sheets for Mustangs, not 49 schemes, 49 sheets of decals. So any Mustangs,
somewhere in the region of 200 Mustangs you could build.
Yeah. And then, of course, the ones I end up building first are ones there's no decals for, and I have to make myself. So I'm just genius that way.
But hopefully that means that that'll pave the way, hopefully, for Allison Mustangs.
Yeah. Frankly, I think it'll help Arma do all kinds of other interesting things they've been doing in the past that are not giant money makers right out of the chute.
Drew, what's wrong with the Italeri P51A Mustang?
It's just
right. There we go. Triggered.
Is that Accurate Miniatures old kit?
No.
72nd.
Oh, you're talking about 70. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I built the Accurate Miniatures 48 scale kit.
It's just disappointment in a box, isn't it?
Yes.
The thing is, I can remember being blown away with the Accurate Miniatures 48 scale one when I got it, when it was, when it first started turning up in adverts in fine scale modeler, and nobody could, we couldn't wait to get hold of it. And it's still, it's a nice, decent, simple model, but it's in the same way that the Tamiya P51D is a nice, simple, decent model, but these days you probably wouldn't choose it for your build.
Although it takes about 14 seconds to put together, which makes it an attractive proposition if you've got a weekend to do nothing.
And it also depends what you're looking to do with it. If you're looking to do something because you just want to hang color schemes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about specifically us in this kind of in this ecosystem, if you like. I'm not saying Joe, somebody going into Jadlam models just looking to build a Mustang, picking up that Tamiya D is an obvious quick way to get a really, really nice little Mustang. But we wouldn't, we likely wouldn't pick it as a basis of a project these days.
Jeff Baker makes the point: the odd missile sprues are from the new 48 scale JH7 Flying Leopard. We go from leopards to snowbirds. What a beautiful segue. This is a new one for me. This is a company called Joycraft. And this is going to be a 32nd scale 3D printed kit of the CT114 Tutor. An indigenous Canadian design flown by the Royal Canadian Air Force, but also their Snowbirds aerobatics team. This looks 3D printed, 3D design, but this looks absolutely incroyable. Not a bad start, this, is it?
Very nice. The first accurate CT that they had. I mean, the old Hobbycraft one was a stab in that direction, but it's inaccurate in almost every dimension. So this is pretty cool.
They spelt Tutor right, so that was a plus point. But
yeah. I was thinking,
isn't it? It's a pleasant little aeroplane.
It's like a classier version of the T37.
I was just going to say that.
I think all the trainers from that, the Jet Provost, the T37, they're all attractive little airplanes in their own right, aren't they? A quick glance, you'd have said that is a T37, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you get to the tail and stuff that you go, oh no.
Right. It's a beautiful airplane. I mean, the challenge the Canadians have right now is that it's an old airplane, and they're still flying them in the snowbirds, and they're, that's
and the snowbirds are the only people flying it, aren't they? So
right.
Mind you, it's like the RAF with the Hawk T1 with the red arrows. The red arrows are the only people left flying the Hawk T1, and they're badly in need of replacement. As is the Hawk T2, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, but it's a great subject in 30 second scale. It's not a big airplane, so it's not it's not a complete shelf hog, and you can see the details, and it's a lot of beauty to be had for an airplane in a small package. It's nice.
I see Rob Monfy there saying not convinced by resin undercarriages. Rob, the 3D printed resin undercarriages are far stronger than cast resin undercarriages. Actually, undercarriage strength is one of the things I don't worry about with resin, with 3D printed resin. They can be brittle, but they are incredibly strong, and some of the bits I sent to Spencer this week were quite delicate, but I'm sure they survived all right, didn't they, Spencer?
They did. I hope they survived for a lot longer as well.
Eh?
I hope they survive for a lot longer, as my message might have insinuated.
Yeah.
Just a bit more blurb from Joycraft. Says fully 3D printed model with recessed panel lines and details. Let's just get the splash pit back up again. Finely detailed cockpit and landing gear bays, flaps positionable up or down, instrument panel, analog and digital glass cockpit versions included, complete smoke system with tanks, cartograph decals, option to build any of the 10 snowbirds from the 2024 Royal Canadian Air Force 100th anniversary edition. I've got some of the Kocher decals for standard Canadian ones, which I would like one day to build my hobbycraft kit, warts and all, and use them, because it's
Kinetic have been working on a 48 scale one for years, haven't they?
Yeah. Right. Oops, Daisy. There we go. Absolutely, that does look lovely, though. The last two for tonight, actually the last three, but we've got Micromeer. Do you know what, Drew? You've built some Micromeer, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I've got some. I haven't built any.
I've really got to break that duck and get some of their stuff, because it looks like the quality is getting better and better, isn't it?
It's an interesting breakdown of that one. Horizontal fuselage split and separate top panel and stuff.
For anyone not knowing what this is the Junkers 388, which could best be described as a super Junkers 8, a cross between a Junkers 188, a Junkers 88 and a Junkers 188. Absolutely fabulous looking aeroplane, though, isn't it?
Aeroplane, I really do. I've always loved that aeroplane.
And it did actually enter service. Nobody's quite sure on what numbers there were, but this isn't some kind of what if paper project. It actually did serve very, very briefly with the Luftwaffe.
Yeah, it's a fine looking aeroplane.
Yep. Well, in that case, then might have to have a look and see if we can get one of these then.
I'll get one anyway. So
there we go. And finally, we've reached the finally section of the show. There we go. It's what everybody wants. 35th scale, early type British 4-gallon petrol tins set value pack from Gecko. Yeah. I can't really add anything to it, really.
Not really much to add to that, is there? Are they 3D printed?
They might be, actually, because I know Gecko are doing quite a bit more 3D printing at the moment.
They look 3D printed.
Yeah, there's no other kind of information about these, but yeah, there we go. Petrol cans, a value pack. So whether these are, it looks like they're produced in 2 great big modular things. So it looks like there's really only 2 parts to this. So there we go. Paul Voyle says, my life's complete. Dave Swindle says flimsies. But yeah, there we go. Gecko models.
I don't think I've ever been this excited by a release.
I know. I was going to say, rein it in a bit, Spence. Come on.
There is someone out there. There is someone out there with a British truck bed that's just waiting for that to go in it. So someone somewhere is super excited right now.
Well, imagine if they'd done them in 70-second scale, Chris. You could put them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'd be holding off finishing the model until this showed up. Yeah. Sure.
Craig,
I mean, I would see what Craig says there. Craig, I'd be tempted to design that in Fusion and then drop it into Nomad Sculpt or something and add the dents and dinks to it. Yeah, it's one of those things. I look at that and think, why would I buy that when I can do it in 3D print them myself? But still, many people don't have 3D printers, so I kind of many people are still living in the early 20th century.
Oh, let it go, man. Let it go. Right.
You could say early 21st century and still be accurate on that 3D printer.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say, Chris. Some people are still living in the 1900s.
I think for some people in this country, that's still the far off future, Drew. So anyway, any other business?
Can I go?
Go on then.
I'd like to make a no. Don't do this. Put me back. I'd like to make a very public thank you to him who printed a load of stuff out for me. This guy here. And helped me out with a load of 3D printed bits and pieces, which arrived this week, which I'm using at the moment. So, Drew, you're a legend, absolute legend. And also, I'd like to thank Craig Sargent. Now, I know he's watching this because he's been sending me messages during the thing. And I'd also like to thank Craig Sargent for all of the help that he's given me on a project that I've been working on since April. And he has had endless amounts of patience with me when I've sent in the most ridiculous questions at the most ridiculous points in the evening. So I'd like to thank both of these guys, because without the two of them actually collaborating on my behalf, a project that I'm working on at the moment wouldn't actually be where it is at the moment. So I would like to make a very public thank you to both of them, because
you're most welcome.
They really do deserve it. Drew for his help with his printer, which without it I wouldn't be able to do anything, and Craig Sargent, because he has been endlessly patient with me during what has proved to be what started out as, I thought, a quite straightforward and simple project and turned out to be anything but. So thank you both.
You're most welcome. No problem at all.
Brilliant.
I want to thank some people too. Last week, because I wasn't on last week because of the car show, but last week I learned that I had been elected historian and publications director for the IPMS USA. So I knew I was running, but I didn't know when the election closed, and so I want to thank the people who voted for me. I really appreciate both of you. We don't get a lot of participation in the election, but I appreciate it, and it's always fun working on that medium. As Spencer knows, people keep saying print is dead, and it's like, not for visual things. People like to actually see things in their hands. Computer screen's great for a lot of different things, but there's something that beats having a thing in your hand. You can get from the society that shows that you're part of a bigger and much more vibrant community than you might think. So thanks everyone.
Excellent.
Well, absolutely
Congratulations,
splendid.
Chris. Nice one.
Yeah, absolutely well deserved there. Rob Monfee says, tip for next week, Freight Dog 172nd scale Percival Prentice T1. Yes, Rob, we are going to mention it. Yet again, we have to thin down the amount of stuff we're going to talk about tonight, so we definitely will talk about that next week. I'm just going to do my quick any other business, and I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Ian Hartup of this parish, who has been guiding me through the process of painting this Ford Escort for Telford. And well, I've been using my dehydrator, which is an absolute revelation when it comes to doing getting glossy finishes and whatnot. That hasn't even been trizacked yet, and that is single-handedly the best gloss finish I've ever got on a car. So it's all starting to kind of work out a bit now. So that was Tamiya TS14, warmed up in a jar of water, tooth coat. Then that was allowed to dry, then a wet coat, and then the wet coat went straight into the dehydrator, and it was put on a low setting for about 10 minutes. Literally bakes the paint on. But big thank you to Ian for his assistance in that, because learning new things, chaps. And you three, you don't have a dehydrator yet, do you?
No. I have to get two dehydrators. I have an apricot tree, so I have to get two dehydrators, because if I have one in the house, it's going to be,
I will say the only thing I've got up against the dehydrator is that you've got to saw through the layer, the little shelves, so you can add more depth to it. So okay, there's a little bit of destruction going on there. But obviously, if you're doing something like a Border Models Lancaster, or indeed any Lancaster, you're going to have trouble getting it in there. So you're going to be limited to what you can use it on. But when it comes to things like this,
but it will dehydrate all the strawberries you need.
Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
that sounds good. Actually.
God, this made me. I'm starving. I haven't had anything to eat today. So no. I was cat sitting today for my friend Faye down on the moors, and that was very relaxing. Listening to the birds and watching the aircraft flying in and out of Bristol Airport, which I do believe, Mr. Pollard, you would have flown over Faye's the other week. So
I did. I guess so. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
That's a shame we couldn't have met up, but unfortunately,
you had every opportunity. You had every opportunity, and you blew me off. So.
Yeah. Let's rephrase that, but
it was. We were there. We were waiting. We sent you an invite in plenty of time, but no, you were more interested in eating chips than you were meeting your friend who travelled all the way 133 miles down south, and you couldn't be bothered to travel the 5 miles to the airport from where you live. Shocking.
God, this is shades of Kenneth Williams on Just a Minute, when he used to go off on one of his rants, and he used to go, I've come all the way from Great Portland Street, and very funny, but you have to look it up on YouTube. Right.
It is a very nice part of the world, and we will be back.
Thank you very much. Right. On that note, Mark Thompson says, struggled with a few Tamiya sprays recently. Same for a couple of customers too. Okay. Message me after the show, Mark, and let me know what cans you have problems with. We can always feed something back. That's it. What a great show tonight. It's been lovely to have the three of you together in the same virtual room. Yes, he said.
Well, it's not going to be long before three of us are going to be in the same actual room, is it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's only been over a month, isn't it?
That's what I was writing about for Brett today, to say that Telford goes from being this event which is months away to that period now where you suddenly realise it's not, it's weeks.
And then
6
it'll be
weeks
days.
away?
And then Drew will be, can you let me in? Where's my bedroom?
Hey, I've paid my way.
so that's how it'll kind of work. Yeah, it's going to be here before we know it, isn't it? It's going to be absolutely here before we know it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it already, actually.
Yep, me too.
Oh, we had such a great time last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a brilliant time, didn't we?
We had such a great time. So.
In fact, at some stage in the next couple of weeks, I will do another promo. I'll have a word with Andy, but I will do another pro poster for our sessions on the Hobby Company stand. So, and a big thank you to the Hobby Company for hosting us. So,
and it reminds me as well that I did speak to Andy about this on Monday of last week. I need to book that table as well for us at for the curry.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I do, yes, because
get on that.
see, Drew's already drooling over the thought of the platter that we had as the starter. Not even the main course, just the starter. Yeah, I need to get that sorted out. So, but we need to talk, don't we, about what we're going to do demo wise and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There we go. Mark Thompson says, "Be my first Telford, never made it before." Well, there you go, Mark. We'll be on the Hobby Company stand, so do pop over and say hello. Dave
Sometimes modelling, but largely drinking tea and eating biscuits.
There we go. And Dave says, any biscuit orders. So, okay.
Yeah.
Right. On that note,
anything Foxes would be good.
Not
Or
Liam.
homemade ginger nuts again.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. On that note, right, we're gonna wrap it here. A big thank you to Chris, to Spence, and to Drew, and Rob Monfee, just to make us all feel better, says, it doesn't say Tunnocks, he says, in 7 weeks it will be done and dusted. Oh, don't say that. Here we go, chaps. Anne-Marie, I'm bringing cake again. Well done, Anne-Marie. Yeah, brilliant.
So basically, we're just going to be fed for the entire 3 days that we're there.
That's what it felt like last year, didn't it? It was largely 2 days of chatting and being fed. People.
I'm not entirely sure I ate anything for the following week because I was just so full of sugary
people thrusting biscuits and cakes at you.
Yes. It was like,
On that note, a big thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Fingers crossed, we'll be back next week for another Sunday service. So until then, everybody stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.